The Senate passes Nigeria Revenue Service Bill and Nigeria Tax Administration Bill towards economic prosperity. Nigeria joins Switzerland, Singapore, China and New Zealand as one of the countries not indebted to the IMF. Plus, House of Representatives advocate more comprised natural gas CNG centers across the country. And on the conversation, CNG and the economy in focus. Our guest, CNG and finance expert Farouk Ibrahim. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Naika Oko, your guide. Welcome to the program. The federal government and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, have confirmed that Nigeria has completely paid off $3.4 billion borrowed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Finance Minister Wale Edun confirms that Nigeria has exited the list of countries that are in debt to the international lender. IMF resident representatives for Nigeria, Christian Ebeke, said in a separate statement that Nigeria has no outstanding IMF debt, though the government is expected to honor some additional payments of about $30 million a year in special drawing rights. In drawing rights charges, the IMF had granted Nigeria emergency assistance in April 2020 as the COVID-19 pandemic affected global businesses and trade. The Senate on Thursday passed the tax reform bills, concluding clause-by-clause consideration, which began Wednesday, paving the way for a new tax regime in Nigeria that is streamlined for economic prosperity. The 4 tax reform bills will be transmitted for assent to President Tinubu after harmonization with the House of Representatives.
Bills for Mr. President to sign, which will not only bring peace to Nigeria, will bring more money to Nigeria and development, and then leave the bills as legacies for future generations, where government only for a period, others will come after us.
We remain focused. Having passed the tax reforms, we are moving on to work on electoral reforms. And we are moving on as well to work on constitutional reforms. We are very clear as to our mandate and our agenda.
What we did in these bills, we have created the Nigerian Revenue Services with an executive vice chairman and a non-executive chairman. And we said the Nigerian Revenue Service will need not less than 6 executive directors.
The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to establish more comprised natural gas CNG conversion centers across the country. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of a motion by Deputy Minority Leader Aliyu Madaki.
Only Kaduna in Northwest is benefiting from the presidential initiative, while no state in the Northeast is listed as a beneficiary.
Look at the cities that were exempted. Talk less of even the corridors. Look at the corridor of Lokoja, Abuja, Kano. Why are the CNG platforms?
It's a federal government project, and it's very important that it spreads across board without any segregation or marginalization.
This motion
Now, in recent years, the federal government has intensified efforts to transition Nigeria's transport sector from petrol and diesel to compressed natural gas (CNG) as a cleaner, safer, and more cost-effective alternative. This move is expected to not only reduce transportation costs for Nigerians, but also align with the government's goals for environmental sustainability and energy diversification. However, despite all efforts, the pace of transition appears sluggish. Many Nigerians remain unaware of the benefits of CNG or are hesitant due to limited access and infrastructure gaps. Well, today on Business Express, we explore the opportunities, challenges, and economic implications of adopting CNG in Nigeria's transportation ecosystem. To give us deeper insight, we are joined by CNG expert and financial analyst Farouk Abdullahi. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio once more.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you.
Great. Now, let's start this way. What exactly is compressed natural gas and how safe is it?
Thank you. Compressed natural gas, it's a natural gas that is compressed to a pressure of about 600 laps. It is majorly contained of methane, and it is a cleaner energy, economically and environmentally friendly energy. So this is what it is.
All right. So how effective, what's the cost effectiveness of the conversion of this type of fuel?
Thank you. Well, it has a high upfront cost, but if you look at, the economic benefits of it, in spite of the high upfront cost, the economic benefit which is occasioned in the initial setup of it, it's a bit on the high side. But thank God for the federal government that have intervened to provide different platforms where both commercial drivers and private car owners can have ease in ensuring that they get to convert their vehicles. You save up to 70% in fueling cost if you convert your car to utilize the compressed natural gas. 1 SCM of CNG is cost around 240 naira compared to petrol, which is around 1,000 naira. So you see, it is economically friendly, and you can fill up a 15 kg tank with less than 4,000 naira, which you can drive through to around to about 150 kilometers. With that, I like giving personal testimony as regards to the cost of it, cost of utilizing it. The first time I traveled from, Kaduna, from Abuja to Kaduna, to and fro, I didn't spend up to 10,000 naira, fueling one of my CNG cars. That has saved me a lot. On a normal day, if I'm using my other, cars, I spend nothing less than 40,000 naira to go to Kaduna from Abuja and back. So I'm a living testimony, and I would say that if you look at it on monthly basis, I spend around 1 million to convert my car. How much will I be saving? My friend, it cost him 7,000 naira to fuel his car in a week. If he's using PMS, he would spend nothing less than 60,000 naira. So this goes to tell you how economically viable it is to opt in for the compressed natural gas. And if you look at our endowment in terms of our reserves in gas in the country, we are not tapping anything near to the potentials in it. Nigeria is ranked the 9th globally in terms of in terms of being among the largest country with the oil reserves. If we utilize our gas reserve optimally, Nigeria will be able to harness over 600 trillion cubic feet of gas. So it's enough to feed, our neighboring countries, West African region, and perhaps part of the Europe. So I think it is, potentially viable for both individual and government to keep on with the good move in prioritizing the adoption of, CNG, as an alternative fueling option.
All right. Now, skepticism seems to be a big a challenge for CNG adoption. Why do you think commercial drivers and the general public are so hesitant to embrace CNG, even with the government promoting it as a cheaper and cleaner option?
Well, I can authoritatively tell you that there is improvement as regards to the skepticism of, commercial drivers and drivers generally, in terms of, the usage and adoption of compressed natural gas. If you look at, let's say, Abuja alone, I think over 50% of, commercial drivers' cars have been converted to CNG. And we have seen the recent moves, by the presidential initiatives on CNG, to implement enforcement, of the reduction of transportation fares by those that have benefited from this free conversion exercise, that was championed by the federal government through PCNGI. So this has, occasioned, the reduction in transportation prices by, about 40%,
All right. So I know you've mentioned it partly, but is this conversion affordable, and what exactly is the cost?
Well, conversion, I would say, intrinsically, it has high upfront cost if you think of the money that you put upfront to convert your vehicle, but over the time you'll be able to recoup whatever you must have in. Just look at it from the perspective of being an investment, where you invest this amount and, after a short while, you'll be enjoying the benefit of it perpetually. So it costs, I told you it costs about, ₦1 million to convert a car on average. It depends on the type of the car, the nature of it in terms of what type of tank that is to be installed and the type of the, conversion kit to be installed. So the government also, through various programs, have incentivized, conversion of these cars for both the public and private, car owners. For the commercial car owners, we have seen a testament to what the government is doing is through the, conversion incentive programs, where taxi driver enjoy, 100%, conversion of their vehicles. They pay nothing, they don't pay a dime, and they get their vehicles converted. So this is something that we give kudos to the federal government through the presidential initiative on CNG. And at the same time, there are other, financing programs that the government has, really take the front seat in terms of saying that it is made possible for those, that private owners of vehicles through the, the CAM funding scheme, whereby you pay small. That is how they, describe it. You get to get access to the financing option, whereby your car will be converted and the payment option will be spread over a flexible, period of time. So I think a lot of people are not aware of this benefit. It's something that, I think people get more sensitized on that and, move quickly, swing quickly towards the adoption of it and the utilization of this, opportunity that the government has put up to us.
All right. Do you think there are enough CNG conversion centers and fueling stations currently operational? Do you think we have enough?
The entire CNG technology, is a new thing to the Nigerian economy and Nigerian system. I think the program started, it's not up to a year, and, the government started with 10 conversion centers, and today there are over 250 conversion centers, across the country. So I would say that the number is growing. The growth level is below being steady or average. but looking at, the demographic distribution in the country, I would say that, more conversion centers are coming up, and I feel before the year runs out, you would have, the number will double, if not tripled.
All right. So as an expert in the field, what other major infrastructural or policy gaps do you think needs to be addressed?
Frankly speaking, this CNG technology of a thing, I think is something that the government is putting, at the forefront, of their intervention programs, and it's something that the government should be encouraged to do more in that, regards. I think the number of refueling units, although the government is working assiduously to see that it cut across the entire country, but at the same time, the government should also do more in terms of incentivizing, private partners in having access to most of these, tools or equipment that will enable them set up a conversion, a refueling system in various locations in the country. So this will go, a long way in doing that. Grants can be given, and I'm sure they are giving, a sort of incentives to private individuals. And also the private sector should also, wake up to the call and invest in this direction. It's something that will be, of, symbiotic benefit for both the country and, the private players in the CNG space.
All right. The presidential CNG initiative is aiming big with 11,500 CNG buses, but given the slow progress so far, do you think this goal is achievable, and what is the biggest challenge they need to tackle to make it happen?
Well, first of all, measuring progress, I think, is relative. I don't know how you are benchmarking, how rapid or how steady or how slow. I don't know the benchmark you're using to describe it, but I would say that the progress, there is progress, and it is on the rise. So what I mentioned earlier is that the government should do more in terms of investment in infrastructures around the CNG space. That is what the government needs to do. But given the time it started and where we are today, I would say that we are making tremendous progress in the adoption of it. Go to other countries in the world and see how long it took them before they got at the optimal level of utilizing CNG as their options. I remember the last time I was in Abu Dhabi, the taxi I took was operating on CNG. I was surprised. How comes they are using CNG and they are very quiet about it? Because it was seamless for people to integrate it, to integrate into it, and perhaps the government have also supported them by providing the enabling infrastructure, the enabling environment, and perhaps access to this CNG of a thing is one thing that is very much important.
All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the performance of the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas?
I think this is, it looks like a jam question, but to be honest with you, I would rate them, I won't give them a 10, but I will give them 9.999% because they have made tremendous progress. In terms of, capacity building, I would say they are doing tremendously great. Through the programs, the various programs they are championing, 10,000 jobs has been created, 10,000 direct jobs, over 90,000 indirect jobs. They have attracted investment, of over $500 million. I can see how other state governments also are taking, the lead in their respective states to see that there's poor investment within the CNG space in the country. I could see Kano signing up, MOUs in hundreds of millions. So this is really, really a progress. So I would say kudos to PCNGI, and we wish they would do more in terms of reaching out across the entire country and bridging the gap within the energy space.
All right, so what message do you have for workers and businesses on the adoption of CNG for transportation and for their businesses?
Please, they shouldn't procrastinate in terms of, switching into CNG. Not that they are expunging their normal fueling system, they are just complementing it with the CNG system. It is seamless, it is safe, it is environmentally friendly, it is economically viable. So it's something that I feel workers, and business owners launch into that. Dangote have been utilizing CNG in all his trucks for the past 3 years. So small businesses can take also from that and adopt it and see how, farmers also can move, goods from farms, to the community, with low transportation costs and whatnot. So all this would, translate to economic, viability. So everyone should embrace it. It's not a matter of, procrastinating or thinking over it or its safety or whatnot. It is safe, as I said, it is reliable, and it is time we all do it. And we are naturally endowed with all the gas that could, service the entire country, the entire region, and perhaps the entire world.
All right, Mr. Farouk Abdullahi, a very big thank you to you for your insights. Clearly, CNG holds promise for cleaner, cheaper transport in Nigeria, but more awareness and support are needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure.
All right. Moving on, stakeholders have reaffirmed their shared commitment to the effective and seamless execution of the crude and refined product sales in Naira initiative, which remains a critical component of President Bola Tinubu's broader strategy to strengthen the Naira, enhance energy security, and promote local value addition within this sector. A statement signed by Director Information and Public Relations Mohammed Manga says this was in a follow-up meeting of the Technical Subcommittee on the Crude and Refined Product Sales in Naira initiative convened this Friday under the chairmanship of the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. The session reviewed implementation milestones and recorded notable progress since the last engagement. We move now to the commodities market, where oil prices rose this Friday, poised for a weekly gain as trade tensions between top oil consumers China and the United Nations shows a sign of easing, and Britain announced a breakthrough U.S. trade deal. Brent crude futures firmed by 83 cents to $63.27 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 85 cents at $60.76. Analysts say hopes that the trade war between the U.S. and China is cooling had helped Brent futures to jump by 3% on Thursday. Time now to see prices of other commodities on the global markets. The stock market in Nigeria sustained bullish trend from mid-week trading to close a positive this Friday. And on the global scene, world stocks hovered around their highest prices in 6 weeks this Friday after a U.S. trade deal with Britain fueled guarded optimism. Now, meanwhile, the Naira depreciated further against the U.S. dollar amid renewed appetite for the greenback. It exchanged for 1,625 Naira to $1, its lowest points in 2025. Let's see the official exchange rate. With that, we end Business Express for today. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns next week. I am Neka.